folks, Rob here, and we're going to take apart this Beretta Neos today and get it cleaned up, and we're going to take it out and shoot it. If you watch my videos, you know I just traded for this gun, so it's dirty. It hasn't been cleaned, looked like, in a long time, so we're going to do a little cleaning on it before we try and shoot it. So first thing you want to do is, always make sure your gun is clear. And this one, I haven't shot it yet. But if you're familiar with the Neos, you know that the magazine release is not under the thumb, typical of most pistols. It's actually here on the far side, and it falls right under the trigger finger. And the magazines do come out very easy. And to take the gun down, I found it best to lock slide to the rear. And on this side here, you have this button. When you push out on this button, this little latch that catches this wheel will disengage the wheel, and you can then turn the wheel. And as you turn the wheel, the barrel just comes up. And it takes a few turns to get it off, but it's not the easiest takedown, but it's not the hardest by far. So there's your barrel. Okay, now to take off your slide. Now this is under spring tension, so you don't want to just hit your slide release, because this thing will go flying across the room. So hold on to your slide, hit your slide release, and off come. This is your slide assembly. We'll lay that aside. Your recoil spring and your striker spring. Now it's under spring tension too, so this is cocked. So in order to take out your striker, hold on to your striker, pull your trigger, and as you can see, it pulls this little bar down right there. If you'll watch, pulls that down, that releases your striker. And there's your striker spring and your striker. Your striker's notched on the bottom, so when you reinstall this is what the little striker stop catches in. So you'll want to put that back in. So now you basically have it taken down to the frame. This frame's a little dirty, so we're going to take us a little CLP here, and I'm going to spray this down, and we'll take our brush here, and we'll clean this up a little bit. I hope I'm in frame there. We're going to clean all this up and give it a little clean and lube. There's not a lot of internal moving parts to this, doesn't look like. So, but we're going to clean it, clean our rails good, and just get this ready. And we're going to take it out and put a few shots through it. Just see how it does. So we're going to clean that up. Take and wipe off some of our excess CLP. And then we'll lube it back up with a few drops before we take it out to shoot it. So we're going to clean it up here, wipe it down, get the worst of it off we can. Looks better now, ain't quite as dirty. Here's your extractor, or your ejector, I should say, not as extractor. Looks pretty good, although that mag well looks pretty dirty. Let's see if we can get something up in there and clean that out a little bit. We'll take a little screwdriver, push this rag up in there, and see if we can get some of that gunk out of the mag well. You know, those things can get pretty gunked up sometimes. Well, that does look better, if you can see down through there. Looks better up in there. Still a little gunky looking. Let's put her through there, woman. Let's take our brush. I think our brush will go up in there. Get some of that out. Oh yeah. That's doing the trick. Get some of that old powder residue and stuff out of there. Yep, that's helping. Let's run this rag up there one more time. Most people who have these guns say they'll feed about any kind of ammunition you put in them, but we're going to try it out. So, alright, that looks pretty good. So let's look at our barrel here. Now you can remove this rail if you want to, but there's no point in doing that just for the cleaning of it. Let's take a little CLP and we'll put a little bit down the bore, some right around here. And let's get our 22 bore snake here. And this was sent to me, my good buddy Mark Thomas over at Thomas Leatherwork. I had hunted for one of these forever, 22 bore snakes, and he found one somewhere and sent me one. So if you're interested in, Mark's got an excellent channel. He does a lot of custom leather work. He's a craftsman if there ever was one. So check out Mark. So we're gonna put our boar snake in there, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of stuff on that to clean the boar. And we're gonna pull that through a couple times. These things, I used to use an old cleaning rod and jags and everything, and these things are so much more. They're quicker. They seem to do a better job. I am a firm believer in boar snakes. So let's check down our barrel now. I don't know if we can see that or not. Let's get over here where we can see if we can get a look down there. Now let's clean off our breech face of our barrel here. Get all this good and clean. This is where it locks into your, kind of holds everything together. This locks under your slide, and kind of locks the whole thing together. So let's wipe all this down real good. There's nothing more fun than shooting 22s. I enjoy it. Me and my daughter get out and we shoot 22s, and it's just an inexpensive way, although there have been times when it's been more expensive than others, and it's not super cheap right now, but it's definitely a lot cheaper than 9mm or anything else you can shoot. Of course, 9mm typically one of the cheaper rounds you can shoot, so this is definitely cheaper than 9mm, and you can get out and have a good time and not spend a ton of money. So we've got that clean. Let's look at our slide here. It's pretty dirty, if you can see that, the face of that bolt. She's pretty dirtied up. So let's get a little CLP in this. Clean it up a little bit. Take a brush over here and do some scrubbing on this. You want to clean under your extractor good. Well, extractor's pretty dirty. It's obvious this thing hadn't been cleaned in a while. But we're going to get her cleaned up enough. Hopefully it will function just fine. We want to give it its best opportunity to, anyway. We'll clean that up. Try to get a little bit of that carbon and gunk out from right around there. Probably should have something better than a knife blade, but I have some picks there somewhere, but I just didn't dig everything out. which I probably should have, so I could have got down in there a little better. We use a screwdriver and a rag. So, guys, I sometimes get out of frame because I'm trying to watch what I'm doing and end up out of camera frame. But it's unintentional. I am not the best cameraman in the world. But I try, and we put out videos, and, you know, people seem to enjoy some of them, so we just do the best we can do, and then leave her at that. When I first started this channel, my wife and daughter said nobody'd ever watch me, so so I guess I showed them. They didn't realize how, you know, popular things like this are. You know, there are millions of gun owners out there. We're just going to wipe off our striker. And I am going to put a drop of COP right there on that striker surface. Just a drop. We don't want it soaking on that. We're just going to put enough. Well, that's pretty dirty. Let's wipe that off. It's dirtier than I thought. So now we'll put a drop just to lube it. Just one drop. And we'll put our spring back on. And we'll reinsert our spring into our frame. And of course you want the notch to go down. This can be a little tricky, but it's not that bad. That spring wants to. So once you get here, pull your trigger. Why is my trigger not pulling? Okay, let's see what we've done. Let's see if I can reset the trigger with the striker. There we go. I just wasn't pushing hard enough. Having that spring on it makes it hard to feel. So let's do this again. There's quite a bit of pressure on that. So there's definitely no reason why this shouldn't set off the hardest primer. That's got a good spring on it. So now you reinstall your recoil spring, and I'm going to put a drop of COP right there, and that should be good. We don't want a ton of COP. You know, 22 long rifle is dirty, so you'll push it back. Now, I found that it's best to put a magazine in right here, because it doesn't hold. This kind of tries to ride up over that, and it can fly off. So with the magazine in there, it keeps that pushed up a little higher. So now we're going to reinstall our barrel, and you want to make sure that your notches are in right here. You want to make sure that's where that needs to be. And to tighten it, you don't have to push the button. You can just rotate it. And you can hear it clicking as you do. So, and like I said, you want to make sure you stay in down here, because you can tighten this down and this not be in its notch. And there we go. We are tight and on safe. So let's wipe her down a little bit. Well, I told you that gun looked, when I first got it, it looked a little rougher than this. After a good cleaning, it doesn't look like a bad gun. you know, when they're dirty, they all look a little rough. So, anyway, guys, that is the cleaning of the APX. I'm just going to wipe these mags down. And we're going to take this thing outside and shoot it. Stay tuned. Next video, we'll be shooting this puppy. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. And if you're not a subscriber, please feel free to subscribe. I appreciate each and every one of you. And until we're shooting this thing, I'll see you later.